So, Chris, tell me about military.com.
So military.com is the nation's largest military and veteran membership organization. So we are about connecting service members, veterans, and their families to all the benefits they've earned in service to America. So today we have about 8 million members, and that's going up very rapidly. We founded the company in 1999.
So one feature of the site involves what you refer to as soldier journalists. Tell me a little about what a soldier journalist is.
Well, about half of the U.S. military are military.com members today, and they're out there doing what they do. And obviously, there's a lot of things going on in the world that the U.S. military is involved in. And we have the ability for those members to engage with military.com so they can upload videos or pictures or provide comments, and we get a lot of traction. It's actually the photo and video center is called Shock and Awe, and it gets millions of unique visitors every month, and we have all sorts of interesting content. And some of that content comes from Iraq. So today, is the story of the next big thing in Iraq going to come from the New York Times? Is it going to come from a soldier that's out there with a cell phone that takes a picture of something? And we've seen that time and time again where we've broke national news stories.
So one of those stories that at least was reflected on the site was the capture of Saddam Hussein. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, interestingly enough, we didn't even know that it was a big story, even that it happened. So one of our members had sent in some photos of the actual capture of Saddam when he came out of his spider hole, and it was put up on military.com. And in fact, the next day I got a call from ABC News very early in the morning asking me about the photos, and I wasn't sure what they were talking about. Raced into the office, and we were getting millions of hits on this one photo, and it obviously set off a national firestorm of commentary and debate, and fundamentally broke that news.
So after those pictures went up, you got a call from someone well placed in the U.S. military.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that call.
Well, interestingly enough, my assistant came in and said, we have a general from Baghdad calling you, and he wanted to talk to me. And he said, we want to talk to you because military.com is supportive of the troops, and I wanted to ask you to take the picture down because they thought that the photo looked like the military was doing something not in keeping with the Geneva Convention. I think a soldier had his foot on Saddam or something like that. And I said, well, General, the story's out. It's on ABC News, it's on Drudge, it's on a lot of other places. And he still encouraged me to take it down. I asked him if it was the official position of the U.S. government. He said no. And we ended up not taking the photo down. And I called the Department of Defense, and they said, no, don't take it down. So I think all in all, they were pretty supportive, but there was an initial foray where they had wished that picture had never gone up.
So now your members are all in the military. What was the response from members of the military for your decision not to take the pictures down?
I think they were very supportive. And, at the end of the day, we have to have integrity around what we do. We're a First Amendment organization, but truly, we're about supporting the men and women in uniform. And frankly, showing pictures of the capture of Saddam was a great morale booster. And I think fundamentally that Army general should have appreciated it because people loved it. They emailed it around.
So how does a site like military.com and some of the things that are happening, how does that change reporting of warfare?
Well, I think it provides a different angle. One of the things, particularly as you consider Iraq, is it's a very complicated story. It's not a monolithic story. It's not just happening in Fallujah. It's happening all over the Middle East. And how does that story get told? And I think it's told through a portfolio of sources, through professional media, through local media, through wire services, but I also think it's told through the eyes of the participants. And that's what we call soldier media. So increasingly, every soldier out there has the means of production. They can write something, they can send an email, they can take a picture of something, they can capture a video. In fact, we helped with a new movie that came out that's been very, very popular called The War Tapes, where 10 high-definition video cameras are given to National Guard soldiers in New Hampshire, and they put together an enormously popular and very powerful movie. So I think what we're going to see increasingly is that a lot of these breaking news stories, if something happens that was unexpected, the most likely person to cover it will not be traditional media. They won't be there. It will be someone that was participating.